Okay, by this point, we've all seen this trailer. It was probably one of the worst things to come out of the PC Gamer show, and Hell Let Loose took a lot of flack from it. From the terrible voice acting, to the weird animations, to glitches within the promotion, and it was sealing the deal of the issues that people have had with Team 17's takeover. Lackluster updates, straying away from the initial points of Hell Let Loose, and not being faithful to the developers' black matter that came before. But what is the fallout of this? Well, it has been an exciting few weeks to see exactly what's been going on, but boy, Hell Let Loose is about to change a corner once again. There are articles like this popping up everywhere. Game developer apologizes for terrible trailer. Thousands of people tuning to watch a Hell Let Loose trailer that fell short of expectations. And we can see this, going back to the actual trailer, PC Gamer themselves it has 9.1 thousand dislikes with only 387 likes. This is one of the worst ratios that I've ever seen, especially on a game that's been so beloved for such a long time. The fan base has almost completely done a 180 and turned on its once great theater of war title. Yet Team 17 has actually tried to fix this somewhat. They've tried to quell some of the panic, and they came out with a statement. They apologized, which is always a good start, saying, "What we'd hoped would be an exciting and immersive trailer for our next update has unfortunately fallen short of expectations. We understand that you were eagerly awaiting the trailer, and we deeply apologize for the disappointment, frustration, and sense of letdown felt amongst the community." But it gets worse. The video has actually been pirated on Team 17's personal stuff, and not only that, what used to be a mostly positive game went down to mixed. Well, this was since this article was written, which was 3 weeks ago. Now, if we check Hell Let Loose on Steam, well, we're down to mostly negative, which for a game that has 79 on Metacritic with a BAFTA nominee, a mostly negative title is insane. 33% of the 2,600 user reviews in the last 30 days are positive. That is abysmal, especially for a game that was this beloved. So what is actually going on? Let's take a look at some of the reviews. First of all, this long, lengthy lad pretty much sums it up. The game is still fine. It's actually still a fun title, yet lately it's been heading down the wrong direction. The first thing was a half-baked British faction. This update caused a lot of drama, and there was a lot of disappointment surrounding it. If we actually just type in Hell Let Loose update and have a look at some of the videos talking about the most recent update, it's talking about update 14 is now out, but it is still broken. It gets worse for Hell Let Loose. Hell Let Loose did something horrible, talking about the new British faction and the updates that went with it. Unfortunately, whilst there was so much excitement, Hell Let Loose British Forces update dead on arrival. And yeah, part of it is just the YouTube rabbit hole and knowing that negativity draws views. Don't get me wrong, I'm part of that as well, but it's not a lie. This has been a disaster. And as this review says, people might say that the British update was Black Matter's last creation before the takeover, but still Team 17 deemed it fit for public consumption and released it in the state it currently is. And this is one thing that I think is incredibly important to note. I have been playing Hell Let Loose and I've been in the community for years now, since its initial release and even a little bit before in the earlier versions. Yet, there's always been a long wait for updates. I remember being frustrated by it, why the Russians took so long to come out, and since the Russians, why there was nothing for so many years, and then all of a sudden we've had these roadmaps that Hell Let Loose are speaking of. And this was the most recent one that was released, the 2023 roadmap. In June, it's where the British forces came in. Yet, July, there is another update, adding in an in-game store, 101st Airborne DLC, and then once again in December, less than 6 months later, getting in the Finnish and Polish forces, a new clan system, the Winter War, the Battle of Danzig, obviously new maps, new premium DLC, and new factions within 6 months. This is unheard of for Hell Let Loose, and don't get me wrong, more content is always welcome, but it has to be spaced out enough so that we're actually getting some great quality content and not just when it comes to quantity. Because Black Matter spent years working on their content, the new factions and maps and updates that were coming to the game. And whilst it felt frustrating at the time, I can now see why. Because they wanted to release something premium, something that was actually worth playing, and that gave maps that would fit into the rotation. I adore playing Stalingrad and Kursk. They aren't my favorite maps, but they fit well into the rotation and you see them being played all the time. El Alamein has almost been pretty much completely killed off all the servers. People don't want to play it. whether it's down to the more open map where you can get sniped from a million miles away, or the terrible optimization where there's certain FPS traps that keep you tied down and not being able to get a decent experience. They completely changed the way the game played in just one update with one map, and that was then reinforced with a buggy and strange trailer. These review bombs are not anything new. This is not just one comment. This is hundreds, if not thousands, of bad reviews that have come out of this. Not only this, but there's been a price hike to the game. And if we actually head up to it, currently because of the Team 17 summer sale, we're getting 35% off. How nice is that? But that's 35% off down to $25.99, which I think was the original price of the game. So Hell Let Loose cost £30 when it was first really came into the limelight. Then as it started to get more popular, we went up to £40, and then as Team 17 took over, we went into £45. From its original price, this is a huge increase. And as soon as this is over, we're heading back up to that £40. This is a massive price increase for a game that actually has a bit more content, but not all that much from its £29 initial start, especially as the content that has been added in is so far out of map rotation and faction rotation on the most part, because these custom servers only want to play stuff that other people want. People aren't going to join servers that are full of British forces and El Alamein at the moment, because it just doesn't have the quality to keep people coming back. But the update came with the announcement of this new game mode, which, as this comment said, is the most abysmal half-ass trailer that you've ever seen. Yet this game mode was something that not many people are speaking of. The objective mode that this whole trailer was surrounded by. This is 25 players, so 50 player maps, half the size of what we've had, and this was the main thing that I think most people have missed. This is the main red flag that has taken this game from a large-scale World War II simulation into a Battlefield, or even worse, a Call of Duty fast-paced action game, something that nobody wanted, streamlining the game into a mainstream audience that aren't really interested in this style anyway. I don't even think this is going to increase sales at all. In fact, we can actually see the decline of Hell Let Loose on Steam charts and how it is getting less and less. Concurrent players in May of 2023 were 17,000. This was when the British update came out, and since then it has been a slow decline. But a slower decline back to below what it was before the update. We're at a steady 10 to 12,000 concurrent players, and then as soon as people started to see the direction the game was heading in, boy did that drop come fast. And I swear, Team 17, if you carry on going down this route, you will kill off my favorite game of all time. Okay, it's in the top 5. I'll give it that. I need to stop being over dramatic. The fact these updates are coming so quick and fast, of course, was down to the excuse of Team 17 buying this IP for over 40 million. They were saying that they're now going to put way more effort into bringing out more updates faster, and of course with a bigger team. To do this, they opened a brand new studio to aid development. Cover 6 studios will co-develop Hell Let Loose, and whilst when this was first announced, I actually came across and thought it was a good thing, and I made videos saying so. Unfortunately, it seems that they have taken it too far, that the bigger team is not actually an advantage but a disadvantage, spending more time working out what DLCs they can bring in rather than actually solidly focusing on making it better for the community that they've already built. Because it was growing, Hell Let Loose was getting bigger and bigger as the years went on, because it was focusing more and more of this simulation style of World War II shooter. And with titles like 6 Days in Fallujah and Squad coming out, that PC player base are loving this simulation style of FPS. But for some reason, they thought that the Call of Duties and the Battlefields, you know, those franchises that are on the decline, are what people still want. They've got it completely wrong. And I don't know if they're going to recover from it, or at least anytime soon. Apologies are great, and it means that they do acknowledge and have seen the backlash here. What's the point if they've already got all these things in place? This game mode will have taken millions to develop in developer time, and of course everything else that comes through with game development. Are they just going to sack it off now? Because I swear, if it comes out, if we do get a 25 versus 25 player game mode, those reviews ain't going up anytime soon. Hell Let Loose, don't shoot yourself in the head just yet. There is still some hope.